Hello, you are watching Shalom World News. I'm Marina Grosu from Washington, D.C. Here are the latest headlines from around the world. The First General Congregation of the General Assembly of the Synod of Bishops laid the groundwork for their meeting. Lasting until Saturday morning, the first module of the meeting in Rome aims to give a thorough understanding of the Synodal Church as a holistic experience. The Relator General, Cardinal Jean-Claude Hollerich, compared it to a warm-up activity that is important for orienting attendees to the synodal technique that is to direct their conversations throughout the event. Meanwhile, St. Peter's Basilica has extended its regular hours of daily Eucharistic adoration. The Basilica will have an additional hour of adoration in the Chapel of the Blessed Sacrament on weekdays from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. The Basilica will also stage weekly candlelight rosary processions at 9 o'clock each Saturday to provide Synod delegates and the faithful a chance to pray. Pope Francis published his new Apostolic Exhortation Laudate Deum dealing with climate change on October 4th, the feast of St. Francis of Assisi. It's in continuity with his 2015 encyclical Laudato Si. In 6 chapters and 73 paragraphs, Pope Francis tried to clarify and to bring completion the previous text on integral ecology. It also sounds the alarm on climate change. In particular, the exhortation looks ahead to the climate change conference in Dubai to be held between November and December. The Holy Father said the responses to climate change have not been adequate. The Pope said that despite all attempts to deny, conceal, gloss over, or relativize the issue, the signs of climate change are here and increasingly evident. He highlighted the fact that the per capita emissions of the richer countries are much greater than those of the poorer ones. More than 21 million people are currently in need of humanitarian assistance in war-torn Yemen, according to the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs. The country has been shattered after nearly 9 years of war and hit by one of the world's worst humanitarian crises. Due to the economic crisis, there are no funds to pay staff salaries and buy medicines and medical equipment. Caritas Poland is supporting 5 healthcare facilities that serve more than 62,000 children and vulnerable adults. Caritas gives pregnant women additional attention, especially those who have high-risk pregnancies. The lack of incubators for infants is one of the major issues with health centers in Yemen. Mothers are so poor that they cannot afford to pay for transportation. Suffocation is one of the major causes of infant mortality, and there is a severe scarcity of incubators that could save lives. Pontifical Charity Aid to the Church in Need has approved a second relief package worth over $500,000 for those affected by the devastating earthquake in Syria in February. The designated assistance package will be used to protect and update vital church infrastructure, and it will also assist 30,000 people of 8 different rites in the 4 governorates most severely affected by the earthquake. 62% of the funds will go towards repairing 2 schools and a charity center for the underprivileged in Aleppo. 25% will be split between the Greek Orthodox Cathedral of St. George, the Catholic Melkite Monastery of Our Lady of Joy, and the Armenian Orthodox Church of St. Mary in Latakia. According to a study issued on Wednesday by the United Nations Human Rights Monitoring Mission in Ukraine, the war has killed over 10,000 people and wounded tens of thousands more since it started in February 2022. Based on data, Russia's military intervention in Ukraine has had a significant impact on civilians, with around 6 fatalities and 20 injuries every day from February to July of this year. Millions of Ukrainians have become destitute as a result of the fighting, and attacks on critical infrastructure and agricultural facilities has exacerbated the problem. The study also looked at Ukrainian children who were taken to occupied regions or deported to Russia, and those who were sent to Russian summer programs with parental approval but never returned. The Roman Catholic Diocese of Phoenix in the United States announced on Tuesday plans to establish a seminary dedicated to the training of local priests. In 2019, Bishop Thomas Olmsted took the initiative to establish the Nazareth House to train seminarians. Prior to this establishment, seminarians were required to travel to Denver, Colorado, in order to complete their priestly education. The Nazareth Seminary has been designated as the primary educational and residential facility for seminarians within the Diocese of Phoenix. Furthermore, it has been reported that the diocese has made an additional announcement regarding a collaboration between Mary College and Arizona State University in Tempe. This collaboration aims to provide Catholic courses to seminarians within the diocese. The largest ever medical sector walkout in the United States, involving 75,000 healthcare employees, began on Wednesday at Kaiser Permanente locations across the country in a labor dispute centering on pay and staffing levels. Nurses, medical technicians, and other support personnel from numerous hospitals and clinics in California, Oregon, Washington, Colorado, Virginia, and the District of Columbia participated in the strike. Doctors, managers, and contingency workers will continue to work in Kaiser's hospitals and emergency rooms. A coalition of unions is accusing the company of failing to address a prolonged staffing shortage that has left employees overworked and underpaid. The establishment has admitted that there is a personnel deficit throughout the healthcare industry as a result of occupational burnout brought on by the COVID-19 epidemic, which caused more than 5 million medical professionals to lose employment. In more than 60 cities in Brazil, the National Network in Defense of Life and Family is holding a Walk for Life Against Abortion on Sunday, October 8th. The aim of the initiative is to draw the attention of government officials and especially of the federal Supreme Court. The issue of making abortion legal up to 12 weeks of pregnancy has been pending in the federal Supreme Court since 2017. The Walk for Life is nonpartisan and non-religious. Organizers said they are focusing on the protection of the unborn child and pregnant women. Participants have been told to be dressed in a white or blue t-shirt to symbolize peace that needs to begin in the wombs of mothers. The Russian government is strengthening regulations on who can get chemical drugs that cause abortions. The Russian Ministry of Health issued new restrictions on the sale and distribution of chemical abortion drugs in pharmacies. The restrictions are specifically directed at misoprostol and mifepristone. According to the Moscow Times, registration is now used to limit the availability of the two drugs. On the grounds of Christian principles, the Russian Orthodox Church is adamantly opposed to abortion as well. Individuals seeking the chemical abortion drug will now need a prescription from a physician to buy it. The limitations will be in place beginning September 1st, 2024, and they will continue for 6 years until 2030. Health Minister Mikhail Murashko proposed adding the two abortion drugs to the list in July, saying that Russian women face risks related to both their health and morality. The health ministry said taking these drugs to abort their babies without a doctor's prescription increases the risk of complications and could lead to death, such as in the cases of ectopic pregnancies or allergic reactions. The parish community of St. Dominic in Brick, New Jersey was blessed with the visit of a very special guest on October 1st. It was none other than the mother of Blessed Carlo Acutis, Antonia Salzano. After the Mass in the parish, Salzano accepted a first-class relic of her son from Bishop David O'Connell of Trenton and went into procession to the narthex where it was enshrined in a new shrine dedicated to her son. The mother of Blessed Acutis said sainthood is for everyone, and Carlo became holy by practicing the 7 theological and cardinal virtues. She also added that her son prayed the rosary and read scripture every day. He also went to confession every week and never missed Holy Mass after his first Holy Communion at the age of 7. Blessed Acutis was a brilliant programmer and website developer who virtually cataloged more than 100 Eucharistic miracles before he passed away in 2006 because of promyelocytic leukemia, a blood cancer. In Nigeria, at least 8 people were killed in an attack on a tribal hamlet in Plateau State on Sunday. It is reported that the killings are the work of Fulani militants, and it took place when the nation was commemorating its 63rd Independence Day. The Irigwe community in Kwal district came under attack. Eyewitnesses say that gunmen stormed the village, shooting people who were fast asleep at night. In a joint statement, the tribal leaders called on Governor Bar Caleb to send security forces to vulnerable communities. Experts say the growth of the Christian population has cut off access to cattle migration routes and watering outlets, which are frequented by Fulani herdsmen. Desertification of their grazing land has also caused the Fulani to move southwards, exacerbating the conflict with the mostly Christian farmers. A Christian believer in Vietnam has been given 8 years imprisonment and 3 years probation by a court for what it terms undermining the unity policy under Article 116 of the Criminal Code. The GLI online paper said that the defendant testified and admitted the so-called crime. It did not clearly specify if he had a defense lawyer. The defendant was arrested on December 19th last year, and he was accused of belonging to a Protestant sect that is plotting to establish a separate state for ethnic minorities in the Central Highlands. The communist government often uses the charge of undermining solidarity policy to suppress activists for religious freedom in ethnic minority communities in mountainous regions. Using Article 116, such people are often persecuted with heavy sentences of up to 20 years in jail. The mountainous areas are home to many Protestant communities who are often targeted. The Church in India is mourning the death of Cardinal Telesforo Placidus Topo, 84 years old, who passed away on Wednesday, October 4th, in Ranchi, Jharkhand. He was the first prelate from a tribal community in Asia to be elevated to the College of Cardinals. Cardinal Topo was the president of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of India from 2004 to 2008 and was president of the Conference of Catholic Bishops of India, comprising Latin Rite prelates from 2001 to 2004 and 2011 to 2013. He was bedridden for the past few months, and he breathed his last at Constant Levens Hospital in Mandar, Ranchi. Born as the 8th son of a poor farmer couple, the future cardinal battled odds to complete his schooling and joined the seminary after being inspired by Belgian Jesuit missionaries. Ordained a priest in 1969, he was named the Bishop of Dumka Diocese in 1978. In 1985, he became the Archbishop of Ranchi. It was Pope St. John Paul II who made him a cardinal in 2003. May he rest in peace. And those are your latest headlines. Join us again tomorrow for more. You can also visit us at swnews.org for more updates. Shalom.